Hello, everyone. So as Carrie said, my name is Liz, and I am the Assistant to the Dean of the Business Technology and Professional Studies Division. So Deans, if you would like to come up and have a seat while I open this up, and you can introduce yourselves.
Hi everyone, my name is Laura Sosa. I'm the Dean of the Division of Business, Technology, and Professional Studies. So just a show of hands, how many people might be in this division? Any business majors? Business, okay, great. Yeah, technology would be computer information systems, like Samantha said, information technology, computer science, any of those majors? Yeah, okay, engineering also, very good. And then professional studies, so we have funeral service, fire science, criminal justice, just a host of other majors, culinary. So anybody in those majors? All right, great. Well, welcome. I look forward after the session to talking to you individually, but welcome everyone.
Okay, hey everyone, my name is Chris Cruz. I'm the interim dean of the liberal arts. Interim means for now. And I'm also a professor of English. So welcome to the college. I want to sort of underscore, I think it was Carrie who said you made a great choice, or what Samantha said, you made a great choice. Yeah, you did make a great choice, because the courses you take here are like the same courses you would take at a four-year school, but at a fraction of the price and with a lot more support. So I think you made a great decision. Just really quickly, the liberal arts are a collection of subject areas like English as a second language, world languages, history, philosophy, psychology, sociology, history, political science. So those are some, and math, of course. So those are some of the subject matters that the liberal arts division comprises of. Is anyone a liberal arts program major? Are any of you deciding to do that? Did anyone declare that at all? So I'm seeing no, but you will still take many, many liberal arts courses. In fact, colleges and universities across the United States make you all take many of the classes that I just mentioned, so you'll be definitely encountering professors from the liberal arts. Once again, welcome, and I look forward to talking with you a little more. Oh, you have one.
I got
Okay.
one. Okay. How's it going, everybody? Congratulations on starting your education here at Mercer. I want to go ahead and reiterate, this is a great spot. I can say that not only as interim dean of arts and communications, but also as a professor and as an alum. So you're in a fantastic position for those reasons that Chris had brought up. My name is Lucas Kelly. Arts and communications, basically things like visual arts, music, digital media arts, game design, communications, what am I forgetting? Ad design, fashion, TV, film, audio, theater, radio, theater, dance. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there. So anybody one of my majors? No? Okay, well, we usually try to turn you to the dark side of the arts. So hopefully by the end of the day,
I can say it's a good life choice. Yeah.
So yeah, but welcome. Hi.
Hi, just in time. Hi, I'm Liz Mazurek. I'm the Dean of Science, Health Professions, and Nursing.
And I can echo about being an alum myself. I was here so many years ago as a music major, so you really have made an excellent choice here and really utilize this time and all the resources you have on campus. This is such a fantastic place to grow. All right, are we ready? Let's go. All right, so first question, what kind of degree can you earn at MCCC? Associate's degree, bachelor's degree, master's degree, or doctoral degree? All right, that's almost, so yeah, associate's degree.
All right, so Mercer County Community College is a two-year school, meaning that we provide you an associate's degree. And so we also have certificate programs. So certificate programs are anywhere from 15 to 30 credits, and associate degree programs usually hover right around 60 credits. Now, if you go on to a four-year institution, you can earn a bachelor's degree, which typically runs about 120 credits. Now, sometimes people are a little confused. They might say, hey, I saw that I could earn my bachelor's studying at Mercer, and that's in partnership with some of our four-year partners. We have schools that they'll actually, we host them, so they'll have their classes here on our campus, but really you're a student of that four-year college when you're studying for your bachelor's degree.
All right. Moving on. Question number 2. How many credits makes a student full-time? Is it 6 to 8, 12 to 15, 8 to 10, or 3 to 5? And the answer is 12 to 15. Good job. Next question. Why does it matter how many credits I am taking? Enrolling full-time helps you earn your degree faster. Full-time versus part-time enrollment may affect your financial aid. You benefit from a structured academic routine, or all of the above. Yes, all of the above is correct. Does anyone want to?
Yeah, I just want to make a comment about that. So it's all the above, and make that decision like with some deliberation, right? So on one hand, it's great to take maybe 12 or 15 credits because you're going to get your degree that much faster. And I would certainly encourage anyone who's thought about their time, and if they have enough time to do it, to take 12 to 15 credits. But there's nothing wrong with taking less than that, especially in the beginning as you get used to what's expected in college. So I've had many students, most of the students I work with are in their first year. I've had many students who start with like 6 or 8 credits, really get themselves oriented to what it means to feel comfortable as a college student, whether they're 18 or 19 years old or whether they're like 35 years old coming back. And so just make that decision in terms of how many credits you take with some deliberation, and really think about, am I working? Do I have family responsibilities? What else do I have to think about in addition to how many courses I take?
One of the things that I would also say about being in that 12 to 15 range as a full-time student to pay attention to is when you go below that threshold, it may affect your financial aid. It also may affect things that you wouldn't necessarily expect, like your health insurance, your car insurance, right? Full-time status gives you certain benefits that part-time status doesn't, and you don't want to get kind of hit with an unwelcome surprise by just dropping a class. So something to consider.
All right, so let's talk about a college credit. Who wants to talk about what a credit is? How many of you know actually what a credit is? All right, so who would like to take that question? Laura?
Sure. So a college credit is a way of measuring the time and the effort and the success you have. So majority of our associate's degrees are going to be 60 credits total. So when you graduate, you get 60. There's a few that have exceptions. Just because they're unique, they might have an experiential component, et cetera. But one credit is going to equate to about an hour a week in the classroom. So if you're taking a 3-credit course, you're a little under 3 hours each week in the classroom. However, the credits that you earn based on how you do in assessments, et cetera, that's one thing, but it doesn't mean that it's the only time that you're going to put into your classes. So just because a class is from 12 to 1:20, for example, twice a week, you're going to have to be putting in extra time outside of that, right? Which I think might be the difference between high school, or perception of between high school and college. So for every credit, think about another 2 hours that you're spending outside of the classroom, prepping, and then coming back, going over what you've learned in the classroom and homework, et cetera. So the credits match up to what you've done. However, don't equate that to the only amount of time that you're going to have to invest. And so I think you mentioned before about really being very deliberate about how many credits you take on. If you're working, right, make sure you have the time, the pre and the post time for your classes. Again, don't just think about it as coming in and leaving. And I will add too, especially if you're going to transfer, your GPA matters. It really does matter. So don't take on more than you certainly can chew, because we have family, we have work, we have lots of responsibilities. Okay. All right. Do you want to add anything?
Oh, yeah, sure. One of the things we mentioned yesterday at James Kearney campus, which is our other campus, is that you might be in a 3-credit class, but it's good to look at the course outline because some of our classes are labs. And so that means that while it's 3-credit class, you're not necessarily just in class for 3 hours. For example, visual arts classes are listed as 2 hours lecture, 3 hours lab. And so you're in class for about 5 hours during that week, as well as having that additional homework time. So something to consider also when you're signing up for classes is that time commitment and then the homework on top of that to stay up with your grades.
Yeah, great answers. Thank you.
Yeah, any class that has a lab component to it is probably going to have that extra time associated with it.
All right, so I didn't know you were going to talk. How do I know what classes to take? Follow the degree map for your program of study. Consult a crystal ball. Follow influencers on TikTok, which may be gone soon, RIP. And ask your dog. Ask your dog is my favorite, actually. All right, so yes, follow the degree map for your program of study. All right, so here is an example of what a degree map looks like. As you can see, it gives a little bit about the information and if there are other concentrations, they are there. But it outlines what a suggested first or second semester is like, but really take those into account and heed them because some classes have what we call prerequisites, so you have to do one class before you do another class. Or the coordinators have really planned everything for your success. So these suggestions here are put there for a reason to set you up for success with the future classes. Anyone want to add anything?
Yeah, thanks, Liz. So I will just add that once you get your courses set up, each of you has probably talked to an academic advisor, I would imagine. Everybody has a schedule at this point, or hopefully we'll have one real soon. Once you get settled in that major, make sure you connect with your faculty program advisor. It is really important because they're the ones who develop the program. They understand the sequence. They understand the industry. So especially if you're looking to transfer a particular place or you're looking to go into the workforce at a certain point, you want to make sure you talk to that faculty advisor. And they should be listed in your account. So when you go into your My Mercer account, you'll see a number of names. You'll have a faculty advisor. You'll have an academic advisor. I want to just stress that faculty advisor is really critical to your success here. And I'm sure I see Samantha nodding, right? Yeah, you definitely want to know. And so when we meet afterwards, and especially with my group, I'm going to give you the names of your faculty advisors. But they can help guide you as well. You'll have the academic advisor throughout your entire stay here, which they're wonderful resources as well. But just make sure you connect with your faculty advisor.
Just going to add something. You need to do well in all your courses. So a lot of students, when they first come in to college, most of us, I'll speak for myself, started college because we wanted to get a good job in a field that we were interested in, and that's a good reason to come to college. But there are other required courses that you have to take. For example, in the liberal arts, English and math, right? And sometimes students might feel like, well, I've done English and math already a million times in the K-12 schooling, here we go again, and might not take it as seriously as you should. But the reality is that those grades matter, and how you do in those classes actually plays a role as to if you have permission to take classes above those or classes in your major. So just make sure that you're taking all your courses really seriously, even though I know so many students are really focused on their major, and that's great. I was too. But just don't forget about the requirements that all students have to take.
All right. Next question. Does it matter what Mercer campus I take my classes? Yes, no, it depends. Can I take a nap? And the answer is, it depends.
Yeah, actually it does depend. All right, so let me explain a little bit.
And you would know because you're a Mercer student, which I did not know until today. Okay, so school me.
So it does depend. So for example, I'll use our fashion program. Our fashion program only has classes at the James Kearney campus, right? Now, if you're a student in the fashion program, you might be taking basic drawing, or you might be taking English. And on your schedule, you might be taking basic drawing or English over here on the West Windsor campus, right? So it depends. It does matter that you take a English class at James Kearney if you're only giving yourself 15 minutes in between classes, right? So thinking about moving back and forth between campuses, especially if your program is campus specific.
I stand corrected.
And I would just like to add, there are other modalities too. So it's not just a physical campus. Sometimes you can take things online. Some classes are hybrid, so it might be a mix of online and in person, or still online, but maybe you're doing a video and then there's like a fully online component. All right, so we have a picture of our lovely Welcome Center on the West Windsor campus. And then there is the James Kearney campus main building right over there. How many of you have been to James Kearney or know where it is in Trenton? It's a really nice area too. Like the building is really, really nice. So if you do get a chance to go over there and visit and kind of check it out, definitely do that. All right, next one's true or false. If I stop attending my class or classes, I won't get a grade in that class. True or false? I think we're about done. And the answer is false. Who would like to take that one?
All right, so when you enroll in a class, you choose to put yourself in a class. You also have to choose to pull yourself out of that class. So if you stop attending class, you're going to get a grade. Anyone want to know what that grade's going to be? Can anyone guess what that grade's going to be?
Shout it out.
Yeah, you're going to get an F if you stop attending class. So if you decide for whatever reason that you don't want to be in a class anymore, you have two options. So if it's during the first part of the semester, you can drop the class. If you drop the class, you're taking it off your schedule. You have no financial responsibilities to pay for the class. It's just gone, right? And that's an option. Like you could show up for the first day of class and you're like, this class isn't what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was this and it's that, or I'm not really interested in this, or the schedule's not going to work, whatever the case may be. After that add drop period closes, you are financially responsible for the class. Now you can withdraw from the class, meaning I don't want to continue taking this class, but you are still going to have to pay for the class. Even though you don't earn a grade in it because you've withdrawn, you're still financially responsible. Now the add drop periods are different for every semester. So for our traditional 14-week full fall, full spring semester, it's usually the first full week of class. But for any of our shorter semesters or 7-week, 10-week summer sessions, it might only be the first day or two of the semester for the add drop period. So you really want to pay attention to that. In addition, the withdrawal period has a deadline as well. There's a certain point that you can't get to the last day of class and go, you know what? I don't want to get the grade I'm going to get in this class, and withdraw yourself. Now, we mentioned earlier about being full-time and 12 to 15 credits. So if at any point you withdraw from a class, it could have financial aid implications. If you were at 12 or 15 credits and you drop 1 or 2 classes, that might put you beyond the full-time threshold, and your financial aid award might be recalculated and you might have to pay money back. So before you make a decision about withdrawing from a class, really talk to your faculty, because in a lot of cases we'll have students who come and say, oh, I've got to withdraw from the class, I'm not doing well, I don't want a bad grade in my transcript, and we look and they're not doing badly at all, or maybe not all of the grades have been calculated. And so sometimes people panic if they think they're not doing well and decide that the only solution is to drop the class or withdraw from the class. But I would encourage you to talk to your faculty, because in many cases that might not be necessary. There might be additional resources that your faculty member can connect you with. So bottom line, don't just stop attending classes or you're going to get Fs on your transcripts, which make it really problematic for financial aid and transferring and all the things. If you put yourself into a class, you take yourself out by either dropping within the add drop period or withdrawing.
Okay, I just want to add that regarding the mistakes that was just described, that students might not take themselves out of a class or might not follow up with financial aid, like I get it, because when I started college, I immediately felt very free in comparison to high school. And I think that's true whether you're 18 or 19 once again, or whether you're 20 years older than that and you're coming back to school and your last memory is that of high school. So high school tends to, the people there tell you what to do, where to be at all times. And like in college, they don't do that. So it could feel like there's no consequences if you stop coming to class. Someone might not contact you. It might not feel like something bad is going to happen, but something bad will eventually happen if you don't follow up. And you have to remember that like everything is initiated by you. Like you control everything, which is a good thing, but you also have to remember that you have that power, and students often forget. Yeah.
And I still have this nightmare, and I just want to make sure I normalize it for everybody. At a certain point, you're going to have this nightmare that it's the end of the semester. You were supposed to go to this class. You realize now that the final is that day, and you haven't been to the class for the entire semester.
You have that nightmare too?
I do.
I've had that nightmare so many times.
I still have it. It still haunts me. So don't live the real life version of that, in short, and just know that it's a really common thing that people deal with. That nightmare.
All right, let's go on. True or false? I can use whatever email address I want for anything Mercer related. True or false? All right, we're almost finished. And the answer is false. Liz, do you want to use it was Nicole who did the fun email address.
Well, it's important to us to know who we're talking to. So if it's, Sparkling Mermaid 123, I don't really know who that is. So if you use your Mercer email address, then we can know that we're actually communicating with you and we're not releasing your private information to, your parents or your friends or your ex or whomever. So use your Mercer email for all your communications with us.
Yeah, your Mercer email is secure, and you're the only one who should know your password because you use it to get into everything related to your file. So that's why we actually are required to only use that. So make sure you always check that too, because your professors are going to be sending you emails. You're going to get tons of things from registration, potentially financial aid, maybe some scholarship information, also things from student life. So always make sure you are constantly checking your email. And also with the weather being as crazy as it is right now, you might find out about closures too. How many of you just would love to come to class at 9 a.m. and find out your class had been canceled? Yeah, no one wants that. So if you get into a habit of checking your email all the time, and it could save you the hassle of a situation like that too. All right, next question. What does academic integrity mean? It's the magical place where your homework mysteriously completes itself. Mythical grade fairy who rewards you with good grades for wishing hard. Code of honor that ensures you only cheat off friends, never strangers. Or taking responsibility for doing your own work with honesty and ethics. All right, let's see. What have you all chosen? And yes, taking responsibility for doing your own work with honesty and ethics. There's another slide too, right? Yeah. All right, let's see where we're at with the scoreboard. No change. All right, go for it.
Okay, so AI, artificial intelligence, like it takes me, like maybe 2 seconds to see that it's artificial intelligence, even if it's put through a humanizer. So like it can be very, I don't know, it could be very enticing to use AI to complete your assignments. And there are some professors who've developed some really valuable assignments that use AI, but don't use AI to in most cases, write your papers, whether it's for psychology or English or whatever, because we can pick up on it like almost immediately. Plus, we have software that detects it anyway, but we usually don't even have to run it through the software. It takes like half of a sentence and we figured it out. So AI, we're on it. and please use it responsibly and only when your professor allows you to use it. Yeah, we were seeing a lot of that in the last couple of semesters.
And we have up on the screen a number of examples of things that are not violations of our academic integrity policy. So, asking somebody else to do your homework for you, that's a violation, right? Doing somebody else's homework, that's equally as bad, right? So there's a number of different ways in which we can violate the academic integrity policy. Yeah, using technology is a biggie, and sometimes, people do things like they take pictures of an assignment and send it to somebody else and ask them for help and things like that. That's all violations. So we have to think about the many ways in which that happens, and most importantly, the consequences of violations of academic integrity can be pretty severe. In some cases, it's a conversation with the faculty. They may decrease your grade or give you a 0 on an assignment. In some cases, you may wind up failing the class. And in some cases, you're dismissed from the program. So for example, in the nursing program, if you cheat on an exam and we catch you cheating, you're dismissed from the program. No questions asked, no opportunity to return to the program. You are done. And in some cases, you can even be expelled from the college and unable to take any degree here. So we take violations of academic integrity pretty seriously.
All right, next question. How do I find out about academic integrity or academic policies for Mercer? Student handbook, Mercer website, faculty and staff, or all of the above? Yes, listen to SpongeBob. He said all of the above. So yes, you can find things on the website. Your student handbook is also on the website. So literally, if you went into the Google little thing on the search on our website and just typed in student handbook, it'll pop up. Even if you had a question about a specific policy, you could put it in there and it will pop up. So you can find anything in the student handbook or on our website, but also you can ask us. We'll know the answer, and if someone doesn't, they'll put you in touch with someone who does know the answer. So make sure you're utilizing all of your resources on campus if you have any questions about anything. It's always better to be safe than sorry and check. Who is the best person to contact if you have a question about something in your class? The dean, your faculty advisor, your professor, or one of your friends. Bonus points if they're from another school. All right, let's see how you rank. And your professor, and that is correct. Who wants to take that one?
Yep, I'll take that one. So yeah, absolutely. If you have a question about anything in your class, the person to go to is your professor. You might have a friend who had the same class but different instructor. That's not the right person to ask. You want to go to your professor. And all of your professors are going to have office hours. And I know a lot of times, because I was like this myself in college, I would not want to go to office hours of my professor. I was very intimidated, very scared. But like we talked about before, one of the reasons why Mercer is a great choice is our faculty are focused on teaching. They want you to visit their office hours. They want to talk to you. They want to explain things to you. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate. Their office hours should be posted on their syllabus, which will go over the first day of class, which is super important. That's your contract with the course. And then also they're posted on their door. So go right to the professor. If you have an issue where something about the professor, something in the class other than the curriculum, you still want to go first talk to the professor, right? If you're not sure you're getting an answer that you're comfortable with, then you certainly can come to talk. We have assistants to the deans. You can come to the dean's office. But the first thing the dean's going to say is, did you talk to the professor? So go right to the professor. Like I said, they really are there to help you. They want to be there to support you as best they can.
And I think this really sets Mercer apart from other schools, is that we professors want to be engaged with you. I frequently tell my students, don't suffer in silence. I'm literally paid to try to help answer questions and get you to a place of success. Our goal, the best case scenario is like everybody in the class gets it, everybody excels, everybody gets an A. That doesn't happen, right? But that's what we're striving to achieve, right? The professor is there in service to you, yeah, in most cases, all cases. I mean, really all cases, right? Yeah, it's safe to say all cases. Yeah, okay.
All right, next question. True or false? I can pick and choose what classes I can transfer to another school from Mercer. Let's see what you got. And, ooh, this was close. False is the correct answer. So who would like to take this one? You go ahead, Dr. Sosa.
Transfer is one of my favorite topics. So how many of you, just show of hands, how many of you plan to transfer once you finish with us? Okay, and some of you might decide later on, but transferring means finishing your degree here, your first 2 years, and then transferring to a 4-year institution, college or university. And we have agreements within New Jersey, but even outside of New Jersey, through our transfer office, it's called an articulation agreement, that'll say these classes will transfer once you complete here, they'll go to this school in this way, right? So it's a one-for-one type of a course, or sometimes a college will give you what we call free electives. So they have a course, they have a general category of the course, but not the exact course. So they'll give you credits, but it's not an exact match. So it's really important to understand where you want to transfer to and what the agreement is with those schools. If you're thinking about going out of state, and we have many students who have gone to out of state, they go to public universities, they go to the Ivy League, they're all over, and very, very successful in those transfer institutions. But if you're thinking of going out of state, you really want to make sure you reach out to those institutions early to find out what are their requirements and how do they match up to our degree. Now, in the state of New Jersey, if you plan on transferring with an AA or AS degree, there is a law, a Lampet law, that says that the 4-year public institutions, public, not private, must grant you 60 credits. Okay, so they must transfer over 60 credits from Mercer. Will they be exact matches to all their classes? Not necessarily. They might give you, again, a free elective, so you'll get 60 credits, but you may be required to, let's say, take their version of marketing, for example. Okay, it depends on the school. But with a public institution in New Jersey, it's really a great transfer arrangement because they must give you 60. So you're going to go in as a junior, basically, right? So you do freshman, sophomore year here, and then you go over to them as a junior. But I always tell students, start to think about transfer early, like your first semester. Think about where you might want to transfer. Start going to the transfer office, meet with the transfer counselor, talk to the 4-year schools, get all your information, because 2 years is going to go by really fast. Find out what kind of recommendations you need, etc. But definitely not everything will transfer the same way, hence why the answer is the way it is. And you want to maximize your credits. I also will throw in here too, a lot of students say to me, should I just take, 30 credits here at Mercer and then transfer? And my answer is always no. I recommend finish the degree. Some of these agreements require that you finish the degree. Like they will not take you as a transfer with all your credits without actually having you graduate. So that's one thing. But the other thing is, life gets in the way. So yes, you might come here and then you transfer early. Let's say you do 30 credits and you transfer, and then something happens and you don't finish the 4-year degree. So now you don't have an associate's and you don't have a 4-year degree. So that's my best advice. Finish the 2 years here, get your degree, and then move on. Plus you'll save a ton of money in the process. So.
All right. How many credits will transfer to a 4-year school? 30, 60, 45, it depends. Now, if you are paying attention, you'll know the answer. It's not a trick question, I promise. But yes, it depends. Anyone want to say it? Well, you kind of already said it, but reiterate.
It depends because, again, if you go into a public institution, there's a law. If you go into a private institution, they may not take all of your credits. So it really depends. Out of state, whole other ballgame. If we don't have an agreement, it all depends on if there's an agreement in place. That's why I was saying before, make sure you identify early where you want to go and what their requirements are. Okay. For the most part, I think most program coordinators at Mercer would agree our job is really to maximize the courses that you're able to transfer. That's what we try to do here. So you can get as many as possible, but it will solely depend on where you're going.
All right, next question. How do I know which books I need for my classes? My instructor posted it on Blackboard. My instructor tells me on the first day of class, the course outline listed online, or all of the above. You guys might be seeing a trend with the all of the above options, just saying. And the answer is all of the above.
Yeah, all of the above. The thing I want to say though is, just ask your professor if you're unsure. So some of the resources that are listed there, like the course outline online, I mean, that's a good resource to learn about the class, but an individual instructor often has the option to, maybe select a different book or whatever the case may be. Sometimes no book at all. Sometimes there's open access resources where you don't have to pay for the book, but there's still something listed on the course outline. Just ask your professor and make sure you're buying the right book if you need to buy a book at all. Yeah.
And one of my favorite hacks for books, because books are ridiculously expensive, well, first is buy used. I know I'm not supposed to say don't go to the bookstore. But the other one is that if you can't afford the book and you've talked to the professor and it's essential, the library has all of our textbooks. So you can go to the library and sit in the library and read whatever text you need for the class. I tell my students that it's a great idea if you're not going to buy the book to just kind of schedule on your own time just before class or just after class just to knock out your reading. It makes life considerably easier, and since the library has it, it makes life considerably cheaper. So.
Good hack. All right, true or false? There are not many Mercer financial support resources for my tuition, books, and any other expenses. True or false? True or false? False, yes. All right, go ahead.
Excellent. I'm so happy that you know that, because Mercer really strives to make sure that finances don't come in the way of your education. So in addition to traditional financial aid, loans, and grant programs, we have a Mercer Foundation that raises a ginormous amount of money in scholarships. And beyond that, we work with partners. So for example, we have a partnership with T&I, the Trenton Health Initiative program. So if you are somebody who lives within Trenton proper and you're seeking healthcare credentialing, whether on the credit or the non-credit side, you can receive funding not only for tuition, but books and other expenses related to your education. So please, 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 if you have financial need, talk to us. In addition, there is support for other things. Unfortunately, we know that some folks are food insecure. We have a food pantry on both of our campuses where students can come in and get a quick snack if they're hungry. We know you don't learn well if your stomach is growling. So, and the food pantry also has some other items, hygiene products and things like that. So we are deeply committed to making sure that you all have what you need to be successful. So please reach out if you need any assistance in connecting with these resources.
We also have through the foundation what's called the Mercer Fund, because let's face it, life happens. I had a student last semester whose tires, and he ended up getting 2 flat tires in the front, and he was supposed to go to class. Well, he didn't know how he was going to pay for those tires and to replace them, so I recommended the Mercer Fund, which this committee meets every 2 weeks. He put in that he needed some money to replace his tires so that he could go to school. He was able to, they gave him the money for the tires. We've had students who don't have laptops or computers that, they at home that they can, take and do their homework. So again, that's something that you can maybe request through the Mercer Fund. So if you find that there are certain obstacles to your academic success and it's purely like life and circumstantial, the Mercer Fund is there to help you along the way, and you don't need to pay it back. That's part of the money that they raise for students as well, because everybody is really set up to help you achieve your success. So keep that in mind as well. And I think we have one more question. Why is Mercer the best choice? Get to save lots of money, great faculty and staff, get to explore all kinds of programming or career options, or all of the above? This is a really tough one, guys. Correct! All of the above. I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory, but yeah, you get to save a lot of money by coming here. I don't know, I think especially these peeps on the stage, they're pretty awesome. And you do, the beauty of community college is you have so much you can experience, whether it's through academics or student life with all the clubs we have on campus and the different events. Like, really make the most of your time here and absorb and just go and do. Be fearless with your time here. Anyone want to add?
I agree with everything you said, and I just want to make a quick comment again about taking courses outside of your major, and I talked about the liberal arts courses that you're going to have to take. Well, it's even broader than that. There's something called general education, and this is a set of courses. It's actually a number of courses that all colleges make students take and be successful in, and it ranges from English to psychology to a science course, in some cases a technology course. And the idea with a college education in general, not just at Mercer, is that you're a trained professional, right? And you're going to have the tools to be successful in that profession. But it's to be successful in most professions, it's not just about like knowing about that one thing. It's also about understanding the society in which you live and like why things are the way that they are. It's one of the reasons, this thing called general education is one of the reasons why a college degree is such a special credential in the United States, because again, not only are you a professional, you're also understanding things about your society, things about your neighbors, and why some of the difficulties we have as a society exist, possibly how we can solve them and do things differently, and also help you to think critically about the world in which we live, right? So like, for example, prices in the grocery store went up the last couple of years, right? And everyone's experiencing that. That did not happen on accident. There are very specific reasons like why that occurred, and it wasn't because some powerful person pressed the inflation button. There are reasons for it, right? So you'll learn about those kinds of things, or you'll learn about why, some folks tend to struggle financially more than others, and some folks tend to have greater success in terms of building wealth in this country. There's all reasons for those things. And then, as an example, when you become a nurse and you're working with someone who is from a background that's not yours or from a community that's not yours, you'll be able to be a better nurse because you understand their experience better, and you'll come across as a more caring and understanding person. Or if you're in business and you're supervising people who are different from you or from a different community, or you're trying to sell a product to people who are different from you or from a different community, you'll understand, how to sell that product or how to manage those people better. So this is what general education attempts to do, and it's one of the reasons why higher education, that means college, is different from let's say a job training program. And it's one of the reasons why, just out the gate, a person with a college degree makes immediately $25,000 more annually than a person without a college degree, and that's just the first year. That figure gets bigger and bigger with each passing year, to the point where you're actually making millions of more dollars than a person who never had a college degree. So just want to sort of point out, I guess, two things there. One, this thing called general education, and two, just the value of a college degree and how important of a decision you all made today by starting with us.